Hey Kazan, I'm doing well. How about yourself? Hey Neil, not too bad. Can't complain. Life is going okay for me. How about for you? Oh, um, sorry to hear Kishan Kumar. That is not going so good, but hopefully things pick up. So you're having a Raspberry Pi 4? I thought something a little bit worse than that. So I'm happy it seems that it's a fixable problem. What seems to be a problem with a USB webcam? Not able to get output. What are you using to try to get output? Are you doing command line things like with a Raspberry still command to try to grab a frame? Or are you trying to use OpenCV or use the Pi camera? Are you using, yeah, I guess, what language? Is it in Python? Is it on the command line? The image is blank. Ah, I see. So you're able to communicate with the camera, but the image is blank. That's a tricky one. What webcam is it? Is it just like a Logitech C920, the typical webcam, or is it something one of those inexpensive ones? You're using Python, and what kind of camera? That is strange. Hey Hassan, I'm working on. I'll show it on screen in a second. Sorry, I was quickly editing the thumbnail for this live stream. As you can see, I'll go ahead and quit that. And right now, what you see on screen is me compiling. Speaking of webcams, Kishan Kumar, compiling the code to get the Intel RealSense camera, working with our Raspberry Pi 4. And I'll show it in a second how my setup looks like. And of course, the image will be dark in a second. I just gotta restart my DSLR so that you guys can see it. Inexpensive ones, yeah, those are tricky. I'll get back to you in a sec. The joys of live streaming. There's always something that breaks. Right before the stream started, like I tested everything and no matter how much testing you do, there's always something that's gonna break. So um, I'm okay with it. I've made my peace with it, but maybe. Uh, Come in. Well, don't think that's gonna cooperate anytime soon. So I'll get back to see what you all are up to. So the inexpensive ones, the image is blank. Sometimes if you try to acquire the images using the wrong resolution, that is a problem. Sometimes just the camera themselves are not compatible with the USB drivers. So yeah, it's a bit of a what Americans call a crapshoot that you just gotta try quite a few different things. If I had the similar model that you do, then I would have a better answer. But I've used my fair share of inexpensive USB cameras, and it's always something different. So just the two things to try is try different resolutions for the images you're trying to capture. Sometimes the cameras can only output one resolution, and those inexpensive ones. And then yeah, the other is try to look into upgrading the USB drivers, but those are fairly standard, so that would be you know less probable cost. So, but yeah, nice. So creating trajectories using objects, so the webcam detects the objects, and then you design the trajectory from taking the manipulator to the object. That's a very fun project. Yeah, the Logitech ones, they work without a problem. So that's why I asked. They're obviously more expensive than those little cheap ones, but you have many fewer headaches. I was trying to figure out stuff like USB drivers and image resolutions. So yeah, you know, if you put a price on the time that you spend debugging, then it kind of makes sense to invest that in a just one of the cameras that works right off the bat. And in that sense, even the Raspberry Pi camera has a decent full HD resolution, and it is $25, so that's pretty expensive for a webcam. And but that one just works right off the bat. It's not even USB, right? It goes into the camera interface, so that one does work right off the bat. But plenty of USB cameras work as well. Actually, on this guy, so I can show you. On one of my last two videos, I showed how to use this little robot here this is a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, right? So it's not even the Raspberry Pi 4, which means that it's even fewer things are compatible with it, and it works without a problem. And this is as inexpensive as webcams get. So, and it is USB. There's a little connector, and sorry, this is a little connector for that webcam, and that one works without a problem, without installing any drivers, and yeah, also in Python. So I wish you luck, because sometimes they can be a pain. Oh man. I really want to try to get this camera working, but first I actually got an error. I'm almost at the end of trying to get my RealSense camera. So this is what I'm using actually. This is the Intel RealSense, D435, and it's kind of, if you're familiar with the Kinect from Microsoft, the Microsoft Kinect, that it's two cameras, one regular camera, one for depth. So it has both of them, and I'm pretty excited to use it. And in addition, it has a processor inside that does a bunch of things, like tracking and depth perception. So I don't have to write all that code from scratch or use libraries. It's already given by the Intel code that's running inside. So I'm pretty excited to use it, but I need to get it working first. And if you see my screen, I'm actually at the very last few steps, but it's taken me a couple of days to go through compiling all the code, installing the libraries, all the dependencies. So fun times, but it'll be more fun when I actually get to get images and get depth information. So yeah, exciting times. Let's see. So when making, I get an error. Why do I not have space left on device? Do I need a bigger SD card? Don't tell me that. I will cry. Oh man, yep. That is unfortunate. I'm gonna, obviously, the joys of DIY programming and electronics. I gotta start this whole process from scratch, but it is what it is. If you see on my screen, yep, I didn't pay attention. I think I'm using either an 8 GB or a 16 GB SD card. So it got full just by installing. It's a brand new image, and this is all I'm installing. So I could try to salvage it and delete a bunch of stuff, but I'd rather just cut my losses. And yeah, let's see. So it's only my root partition though that it's full. So I wonder why that is. Nah, but still, it seems that it's an 8 GB card. And 8, is it? Nah, it's actually 16, but yeah, my root partition, it's full. We don't want to try to start this from scratch, so let me see. I keep going back and forth. It's like, just cut your losses, man. I've done this so many times where I try to bang my head against a problem, and I end up wasting a little bit of, well, not a little bit, a whole bunch of time, and finally realize, yeah, I should have just started from scratch to begin with. Enigma, I love that question the other night. Sorry I couldn't get back to you. But yeah, man, transistor is basically a relay. It is a relay, actually. So I will not try to change your mind. So yeah, and the original meme, right? It's completely agree with most of them. The original meme is that a Pop-Tart is a ravioli, or it's just pasta, right? It's like changed my mind, which was kind of funny. And I completely agree. Pop-Tarts are indeed ravioli. All right, so suspect is in my home folder where I have a whole bunch of stuff. So I want to use the command du for disk use, and I don't want it to be recursive, so I'm trying to remember what the options are without using the help menu, just to exercise my memory. Max depth, I don't know if it's just 1 or equal 1. I think it's just 1. And then I gotta tell it what directory I want to go. Is it like this? Nah. I think it's du, the options, and then the directory. And then I want that to be human readable. So let's see. All right, all right. So, but no, that is not what's taking over all the space in my pie. Obviously, stupid. Got a super user. It. Right. So how would I rate the difficulty of creating a WAP on a microcontroller on a scale 1 to 10? So I'm blanking out or not thinking what WAP is, so let me so what's a WAP? Wireless application protocol? I don't know. 2.5. But based on my uninformed wireless access point, it's one of the examples if you use an ESP8266, which technically is not a microcontroller. It's a system on chip, but same difference. And you just go file examples, run soft AP. I think something along those lines is what's called, because it's a software access point. And if you can click through a menu, my friend, you can do a WAP on a microcontroller. And not an expert on magnetic levitation. So, hey, I'm Odo. I guess you are Odo. You have school, so you're checking in. Thanks for stopping by, man. I'm glad you find the videos useful. So good luck with school, and yeah, stop by anytime. I'm gonna be doing live streams. Luckily I don't know about luckily. I miss school, but I don't have school, so I'll use my time, showing all of you what I'm up to behind the scenes, and keep releasing my normal videos that hopefully you keep enjoying them. So thank you for stopping by. All right, so it's really distributed. The files that are taking all of the space in my system. I just think I need just a bigger SD card. That's kind of unfortunate. But hey, Philip, how are you, man? Greetings from Belgium. Nice. It's on my bucket list, very, very high, to go to Belgium. So yeah, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, I'm glad, as I was saying before, that you enjoy the videos, right? For me, it's fun. It gives me an excuse to play with the electronics and do projects. And yeah, I love teaching. I wanted to be a professor at some point, so it gives me motivation to, instead of just building the projects on my own, making a video of it, trying to explain things. And I've been very happy to find out that people find that useful. That's very rewarding. So, and thanks, I appreciate you letting me know. So thanks. Likewise, stay healthy as well. And if you enjoy the electronics, make sure you focus some time on that, and try to distract yourself from all the goings on in the world. Hey, Electronode, how are you, man? Thank you for saying that's a great channel. Again, this is only my I'm up to my number 6 live stream, and I do read all of your comments from everyone who goes on the channel. and it's been pleasant to hear that people are finding the content useful. But then definitely during these live streams, it's great, right? Because it's just not one-on-one interaction, but I get to hear that feedback, or both positive and when something is missing. Hey, why did you do this? Where is this piece of code? As well as knowing that people are finding the content useful. So thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I'm gonna hold you to that, Philip. I'm actually taking a screenshot to call you out in a couple of months. Hey, where's that lawnmower? Screenshot taken. I see. So you, Enigma, are in the process of making Alexa commanded cooking bot? Nice. To make pizza. Wow, that's a big endeavor, my friend. Are you using what, like a Raspberry Pi connected to a microphone and running the whole speech recognition software like that? Or are you using an Echo and integrating that with the electronics? Or an Echo as an example of an Echo, I guess, is Amazon, which is Alexa. I always get Google and Alexa confused. I'm not big in smart assistants. So I know Siri is different, but I always get the Hey Google and the Alexa confused. But anyway, are you using an Amazon device to do the speech recognition and then tying that to your microcontrollers? Or are you doing the whole thing, which is a project I want to do. I want to run speech recognition on the Pi and integrate that with the open source version of Alexa. It's on my to-do list. So glad to hear, Philip. Integration, nice, nice. If you post details somewhere, as I always say, let me know, ping me on, and I'm gonna, as I try to do on the live streams, I'm starting on this so that I can keep chatting with you all instead of waiting for the next live stream, because schedules are different or whatever. I started a Discord for our YouTube community, so I'm gonna paste the link on the chat, and you guys are welcome to sign in and leave me messages, and we can chat that way. It's a lot easier than answering emails or digging through the comments on YouTube, which is not necessarily very organized. Sometimes I don't get notifications of your comments. Say, I'll reply to the first one, but if you reply to my reply, sometimes I don't get notifications. And as you've seen, I'm lucky enough to have quite a few. Okay, so not quite a few, but several subscribers on the channel, and a lot of them comment. So just Discord will make my life easier in trying to have these conversations. So let me, without further ado, look for the link. And I'll post it on the chat. And then if any of you are working on projects, I want to do one of these days, organize a few of us and do a show and tell. So maybe through Google Hangouts. I don't want to do Zoom. I don't know. I want to get out of this situation where we're all going through without using Zoom more than once. I had to use it once, but maybe do it like a Google Hangouts or something to show off projects and see what people are working on. I think it'd be fun. But this is our little Discord we have going on. And yeah, if you have a project that you're working on, you can post it anywhere. I'm not super strict right now, but if you can find the channel, the project showcase, it'd be best just to keep all the projects there. But I'd be happy to see images, videos. It doesn't have to be super polished. I try to keep this community positive and encouraging, so don't feel it needs to be like finished and super well prepared to post it on there. If you're looking for feedback, that's a great way of getting it. And if I see someone being like, oh, why did you do that, why did you use this in a negative way, they're gonna be warned one time and then banned the second time, at least for a while, banned for 2 weeks. Again, I don't want to be super strict, but I want to keep a positive feeling in the community and encouraging one. And yeah, feel free, feel invited to both join and post questions, and I'd be happy to see some of your projects. Like you guys get to see, all of you get to see the projects I'm working on. So let's make it a two-way interaction. Let's see. Reading your comments. So Yasin, how are you? You ask whether I like the Pi 4 or the Pi 3 better. It depends. The Pi 3, it used to be a lot cheaper, right? To get a Pi 4 that behaved like a Pi 4, you needed to go for the 4 GB model, 4 gigabytes of RAM. And the 2 GB was $35, but the performance wasn't necessarily that different from the Pi 3B Plus. But with the 4 GB, yeah, that started getting pretty useful. But then you had to pay a lot. I think they dropped the price of the 4 GB to $35 if memory doesn't fail me. So yeah, with that in mind, the Raspberry Pi 4, you can do a whole lot more. And I was showing before this little project I'm doing, and it actually has a 3B plus, but it's to get images from this webcam up here to make the little robot autonomous. And it's a project called Donkey Car. Maybe some of you have heard about it. I'm gonna pull it up on screen. I think it's, yeah, Donkey Car. And this is the platform they use, right? It's an RC car that you just rip off and put a Raspberry Pi and an additional board on it with a camera. And it's kind of pricey. They use the RC car. It's around $150, $100, and they try to choose the least expensive one that was easy to integrate, so that people wouldn't have to worry about electronics. So anyway, trying to use their software to run on this car, and I actually released a video of the very first step on how to get the software running. It's on the channel. And yeah, this was a long way of saying that with the Raspberry Pi 4, you can do things on the Pi like running TensorFlow Lite for doing the machine learning part of making an autonomous car. You can, it doesn't run well. It's still better to run it on your computer, get the models, out of after running the machine learning algorithms, get the model and then put it back on the Pi. But the fact that you can run, more complex things for doing things like computer vision, machine learning on the Pi itself, it's, makes the Raspberry Pi 4 very attractive. At least for the projects that I want to do. Let's see. And then, hi, Marian. Oh, thanks so much for the compliment. Yeah, I'll keep repeating. I'm sorry for some of you who are getting tired of hearing me say it, but I'm happy that some of you find the content useful, and you provide me with the opportunity of building projects and playing with electronics. And I'm glad that you sense of being useful for somebody else, right? Instead of me just no cameras, no nothing, building my projects, I find it a little bit more rewarding to share it with all of you. And yeah, I'm glad that's not a waste of your time or my time, right? And, yeah. The sharing part, I'm always gonna enjoy building the projects, but sharing, if people wouldn't enjoy it or find it useful, then it's like, what's the point? Just build the projects on your own. So thanks for letting me know. So you're working on your project for university. Nice. I'd be curious, if you catch me on another live stream and you decide what the project is gonna be, let me know. I'm always curious to hear what people are working on. Hey Jay, how you doing, man? Fancy seeing you here. Jay, I promise that I don't know about the next one. I'm just lazy to go through YouTube's library, but it's on my to-do list to download a different playlist and change, mix up the music a little bit. So, one day it'll be my, as you know, country folk music. Another one will be maybe some jazz and things that, are not very disruptive of the stream itself, but are just not a single genre of music. So yeah, it's on my to-do list. Oh man, sad to hear that your modem took a dump. It's kind of funny. I thought my modem had taken a dump the other day. Like 2 days ago, I tried to start a stream and I went on speedtest.net and I was getting like less than 1 megabit per second, like 0.96. If you're on our Discord, like I posted the image there, I apologize because it was buffering for people, so I had to end it early, and half of it I spent trying to figure out why I was dropping frames and blah blah. Anyway, so I thought my modem took a dump. I even rebooted my router, started a second stream, nothing was working, and I just could not figure out for the life of me. Little lights on the modem look healthy. So anyway, next day I come back and I don't know why I went to check on my network, see if it was my wife or my sister-in-law who was staying here hogging all the bandwidth. And I was just on the admin page of my router and I see that my computer is on our 2.4 gigahertz network, which I'm usually on the 5 gigahertz, but that shouldn't be a problem. And I tried switching back to the 5 gigahertz and lo and behold, it was back to whatever 80, 100 megabits, which is our typical speed. But anyway, so because so many people are staying home, I figure that all the channels on the 2.4 gigahertz band are just being hogged down to just excruciatingly slow speeds. So yeah, about 100 megabits. But I live in one of those typical condominium type places, but it's only like 20 people. So I was just surprised on the 2.4 gigahertz. Apparently all the other 19 people who live here are using 2.4 gig connections, because I was too lazy to run the spectrum analyzer and seeing the two bands, but I'd be curious to see why that was. I even chose one of the channels, on one of the ends away from everything, and that didn't seem to help. So I see. So Marian, it's a car but with a bigger size. So nice. You did the hardware connections with the Arduino Mega, and you want to do a web page with the parameters of the car. Yeah, and the way to, if you want to use, it seems that you want to use wireless, right, to serve that web page. I have one video that might be helpful of how to communicate between an Arduino and a second microcontroller that has access to Wi-Fi. I don't think the example covers how to, serve a page from the second board. I just kept it very simple, how to send data back and forth over serial. But hopefully that gets you started on how to, send and receive data from the Arduino Mega. And then on the ESP8266, then you can do, there are plenty of examples on how to serve a web page and stuff like that. Just where it will get tricky is the integration, how to get, let's say, a click on the web page sent over serial, if you choose to use serial to the Arduino. But should be a good project. I see. So did they do the Comcast Jay, one of those things that I will stop by between 11 in the morning and 5 p.m. So you gotta be home for 6 hours. I guess right now it's not necessarily difficult, but yeah, man, that's always fun. So 150 down, that's awesome. And 25 up, man, I'm envious. I get 100 down, and I think it's supposed to be 25, but I've only seen up to 10 at most. I'm glad the streaming, even in high resolution, works with just 10. But yeah, 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. So it is. I was messing around saying 6 hours. That's kind of funny. So yeah. At least, you know, the modem chose the right time to do it, since more than likely you were gonna be home anyway, I'm hoping. But yeah, it's pretty disruptive when we have to take care of errands like that. With the service appointments, it's, Alright, then before I was trying, you know, as most of you read on the description of the stream, I was trying to get the Raspberry Pi working with my RealSense camera, and I'm showing it here because my DSLR, the overhead camera, decided not to cooperate with the stream. I'm gonna try to get it working in a little bit, but I ran out of memory on my SD card trying to, at the very last few steps of getting the RealSense library compiled and installed, so I need a bigger SD card. So I'm gonna go grab one 32 gigs. I have a 16 gig and that wasn't enough, so I'm going for 32 gigs, which is the biggest micro SD card I have laying around. And then I'm going to restart the process once again, but I'd be happy to, you know, keep chatting while I do that. But let me go grab the SD card real quick and I'll be right back. Kind of funny, I had flashed the images for, yeah, running RetroPie with this nice little enclosures for a few friends to do something during the pandemic, and I'll pull it up. If you're not familiar, it's a great project for those of you with a Raspberry Pi laying around. It doesn't have to be a Raspberry Pi 4 or anything too fancy. The better the Raspberry Pi you have, the more games you'll be able to play, but it's just retropie.org. I'm pretty sure most of you know it, and it's just running emulation on Raspbian, but it's a whole package. You install the image and everything works. It comes without games, obviously, because licensing. And yeah, if you want to know more, you can go on Google and search for more information. What camera is this one, Jay? This is an Intel RealSense. I'll show it and then I'll pull up the page here, which is but it's exactly like a Microsoft Kinect. It has just a regular, you know, color camera and a depth sensing camera. So, and it has a chip, an Intel chip on it that is running the vision algorithms and gives you sort of higher level data than just images. If you want, you can do the processing, get the raw data, do the processing yourself, or you can just access some of the pre-processed data like depth information. So very excited to play around with it. And I'll be making a video on the channel as well on the application. I'll keep it a secret to, you know, but I'll probably give, you know, when the damn thing is actually running, I will give a little sneak peek on a live stream. I thought it'd be today because it takes me about 2 days to compile all the code, but since I need to start from scratch, might be, let's see how far I get today. So it might be tomorrow or the day after. So no real rush, at least on my end. Sorry if you're excited. Some of you are excited to see the application. This one is a bit of a longer project. The 435, and then yeah, this is what it looks like.
Meet Intel RealSense depth cameras, power vision processor for real-time depth computer vision. The Intel RealSense D435 puts an Intel module and vision processor into a small form factor
so,
for
just to give
development or
you
product.
all an idea, and yeah, pretty excited to play around with it. And there are some, yeah, couple of places where I found instructions for how to make it run with a Raspberry Pi. So I want to make sure I document it, release a video, and hopefully people, instead of going all over the place to try to find the latest instructions, can just follow the guide. So that's the hope. And this is the one I was talking about, the last image that I flashed on this 32 gig SD cards are for running RetroPie on them, and it just has a cute little Nintendo like enclosure. So let me I don't have the nails for this. Pliers. And then, so I'm going to flash just a clean Raspbian image on here, and then I'm hopefully gonna try to get my DSLR working while chatting with you all. So that'll be the excitement for the next 10 minutes. So, actually this first, and then I'll put stuff away. Alright, so SD card is in. I'm gonna exit out of this bad boy. Then I have this in my Raspberry Pi directory. Alright, guess I can get rid of the zip file. And I want to unmount it. Can't type today apparently. And I want to flash it. Input file, then output file, then 32 megs. Alright, there we go. There it goes. Let me put this away. Yeah, no, for sure that a Kinect is cheaper, even if you go on eBay, even cheaper than that. But luckily, this is through there's a company, you might have heard the story before, but Newark Electronics, they sell electronics. They started reaching out to makers and trying to get into, they're a professional electronics company, but they started getting involved in the maker community. They hired a bunch of makers to do content for them, and I'm one of them, and they provide with the materials for projects. So yeah, I was happy to get one for a project. So the main video will be an application for their channel. If you're curious, and for those of you who maybe have not heard me speaking about it before, for me, I want to promote it because if they do well with this effort and getting makers and people in that space to buy components from them, I don't know what their end goal is, but if things go well, it means that I get to do more videos for them and get more sponsor parts. So that always helps, and I always kick it back, right? I'll do a sort of a video that's crafted for them, and out of that video I extract parts that I use for my own video. So 2 videos ago I did a display for them that you might recognize actually. So this is the touchscreen for the Pi, and it was just running a visualization for tracking where the International Space Station is, and when it passes right above you, it would flash this little WS2812 LEDs in the back. And I show how to do that in their channel. And then for our channel, I did a similar project, same software, same everything, but the application was different. It was for visualizing data about things. So other type of data. So I try to do both, and if I'm investing some time in doing a project, try to get something that I can share with my own community. So hopefully that's working well. Same thing will be for the RealSense camera. All right, see you in a bit, Jay.
Hello, I'm Clem.
Hey.
All right. Trying to get my overhead. You'll see a black screen for just a sec. Trying to get my overhead to work by way of unplugging it, plugging it back in. Oldest trick in the book. Let's see. Let's ask Google. Let's see. Hey Jim. Oh no, thank you. I read your comment. I'm glad you found the content useful. I'm glad you got the e-paper display working. So thanks for letting me know. I'm glad that's the case. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for uh, jumping on the chat to let me know. I appreciate it. Glad to hear it, Jay. I'm here trying to debug, see what's going on with my overhead camera. Stopped working. I tested it at the beginning of the stream as usual, and it was working fine, and it just stopped working. So oh, no worries, Joe. Yeah, I think I see the live count. Or let me say finish saying hi. But yeah, I see the concurrent viewers on the stream higher than the people, so I assume a few people are lurking. So no pressure. Whenever someone has something and wants to chime in, by all means do so. But if you just want to hang in there and lurk in the background, it's perfectly fine. But I appreciate you stopping by. Do I use NDI plugins? I did for just a little bit, and then because I somewhere around here I probably put it away. I have an HD, what is it? Is it HD60, the model for the type of from Elgato, the video capture model, where you can get in HDMI in, and then it splits it into one that can go to a monitor and then one that you can use for capturing. So that's when you're playing consoles, blah blah blah. You are probably aware of how this works, but that one doesn't work with OBS right out of the bag. I don't know why. The cam link does work, but the HD60 or whatever it's called doesn't work, and I had to install the NDI plugin, and it worked, but it was kind of, I'm also on a Mac, so I'm sure it might, well, I think it just works on Windows, but I didn't want to deal with it, and I caved, and I bought a second cam link, which I'm kind of upset about because people jack the prices. It's normally like 90, 100 bucks, and people are selling them for like 350. So, but I wanted to get into streaming and blah blah blah, and as I've mentioned I'm doing other videos for, an electronics company, and some of that money I put towards upgrading the rig, and I can do, hopefully high quality streaming. So with all that being said, I did, and it worked, but I stopped doing it. Yeah, for capturing, I think it's Elgato HD. Yeah, not the S, but HD, just the HD60. This one, the HD60 Pro, I guess, doesn't work right off the bat with OBS, so you needed to install that NDI plugin. Huh, Brazilian, nice. Well, you had me fooled with the name, not gonna lie. And yes, you need to go to sleep. Have a good night. And Argentina soccer is better, so remember that. It's not this one, it's the one that's connected externally, so yeah, so this is the one I have, and that's what I was using the NDI plugin for. I think this messes up with the audio level, so let me know if it gets too loud. I can quiet it down. I'm not exactly sure because this just grabs the video data coming in, but I see. So I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and obviously it changed the numbering. Alright, so now we have it working, but once again gonna change the silly numbering. I see. You don't have an RTX. And then, Joe, are you on Windows by chance? Just out of curiosity. Kind of annoyed at being on Mac. Speaking of RTX, I don't know if you've seen, there is an RTX voice program that you install, and the noise cancelling on it is ridiculous. So that just reminded me. And it just runs on Windows, of course. So like, but man, yeah, that'd be a nice upgrade to your GTX 1070. So I guess you just gotta be a little bit patient for longer. One Windows 10 and yeah, several Linux boxes. Nice. Yeah, I started using Mac back when I was in grad school. Just the department where I was in gave you a free MacBook for you to use. I guess you could have chosen a Windows machine as well, laptop, but everybody chose MacBooks because so I did, engineering applied math, so it's a lot easier for running Python without installing anything else to just have a Mac. Even back then, that's I think more true today, but just how easy it is to run stuff on Macs. So that's when I made the switch from Linux to Mac. This was in 08 and I've never gone back. And the last time I guess I used Raspbian as my Linux machine, but yeah, can't remember the last time I touched a computer that wasn't running Mac OS. Just for the stuff that I do, it's perfect. So as I always say, it's not about, oh, Windows is better, Mac is better. It's not, dude. It's a tool, and you use the right tool for the job. If two tools are equivalent and they're both right for the job, you choose the one that gives you less headaches. And for me, that's Macs. Despite being more expensive for what you get, I'm willing to pay that price just because in my experience I found less headaches that way. But not an advertisement for either. And then for Fusion 360, no, it works just fine on Mac OS. It used to be super heavy running sort of natively, but yeah, it's it's gotten better. There's quite a market for people doing CAD work who run it on Macs, and Autodesk realized that. So yeah, 360 runs quite well on the Mac, and yeah, it's still a little bit heavy relative to other similar programs that are just designed for Mac, but that one isn't too bad. Um, oh man, since the 80s, nice. See, my first PC, I would always help my friend. I didn't have a whole lot of money growing up in South America, so I didn't necessarily grow up poor. Don't want to give that impression, but it was a luxury to have a computer back in the 90s. But I would always help my friend put it together. Like the very first few, like I think there were Pentium ones. Uh, the very first couple, he just bought clones from the store, like store that put together clones. And then I think by the third one, he started putting it together. And then I would always like look over his shoulder. So, I've been backhanded building PCs since the mid to late 90s. So yeah, a whole decade later than you. So tip of the hat. Man, I'm kind of envious that you get fiber. Out here in Pasadena, I think maybe by the business areas they might have fiber, but it's a relatively big city near LA, and the offers for fiber are non-existent. So, hey Philip, oh man, you guys are flexing on a noob like me since the 70s. Nice. I moved to PCs. Did you also start putting together PCs back in the 80s, or just going with the built, completely assembled ones? Oh yeah, Joe, that's I don't think that's coming anytime soon, unfortunately, for Fusion 360 working on Linux. So uh, even though the president of Autodesk, he's a maker, and I got to see him a couple of times at Maker Fair up in the Bay Area. Um, when Maker Fair used to be more of a fair for makers and not CES, like the poor man's version of CES. He's the type of he's very hands-on, so he would build stuff and model it and blah blah blah. So he's a cool guy and has the maker community. He's aware of it, but there's only probably so much he can do. He needs to answer to board members and such. So I'm extrapolating here, right? I'm thinking that if he's aware of the maker community, the type of tools that we use, the fact that running Linux computers are much less expensive for computational power than with other operating systems, then he has to know. But yeah, nothing he can really do about it. I see. So you did both, Phil. Oh man, no, that's awesome. Yeah, the old, really old school ones. And well, old school to me. I see. So you assemble PCs and made your own PCBs. Did you do the whole etching at home, like the whole printing, the mask, and all that good stuff with the chemicals for making your own PCBs? Start with the copper boards. I always wanted to try that, but I've always been a little bit scared of the whole spilling those chemicals on myself. And then voice generator for Tandy. Nice. You guys were having all the fun. I see the dirty work. Nice. And let's see. Need to change the source. This is what I'm doing. If you're curious, is changing the source for my overhead camera. I think it was 3, right, since I plugged it last. And voila, it's working. So now if I do this for those of you watching, then I can show what's on my bench. Took long enough. But always, the typical unplug it, plug it back in a couple times, and then it just magically works. Oh man, nice. The type of machines that you got to use, so you've seen almost pretty much the full evolution. I remember doing logo, but it was not on, it was already whatever, 286 or something like that in school. Maybe even newer, can't remember, to be honest. Alright, from this I can go ahead and place my SD card, this guy, which I shouldn't be lazy and just take apart, but yeah, I'll be lazy. So I don't know if you guys were probably listening, but I ran out of memory on almost the very last step to get the damn library installed. So I gotta go back to square one. Yeah. But now I can do proper documentation while I'm doing it and hopefully make a video out of it so other people don't have to suffer. Yeah. Obviously forgot a couple of steps that I say obviously because I always do when I'm multitasking. So putting back the SD card, and then remember, kids, create your SSH file, and then for connecting to the network, your supplicant file. And set here, nope, pi, weird. Oh, no worries, Philip. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for chiming in. And yeah, we'll keep in touch. And then yeah, as usual, any questions any of you have, by all means, send them over. I'm happy to, even if you're working on projects and stuff. Well, I'm always interested. Can't believe I didn't do the whole live streaming sooner. So the little earports. Yeah, exactly. I don't like the look, honestly, too much. But I was just giving my ears a rest because I definitely need to wear headphones for, if I play it through the speakers just to monitor the levels. It'll feed back into the microphone. Sorry to be Mr. Obvious there. But then I was giving a break to my ears from wearing over the ear headphones. It's getting pretty warm out here in Southern California. So yeah, I was getting my ears a little too warm. And those are like, the noise canceling is a little bit ridiculous. And if you turn it off, then it's really echoey. So this allows me to hear better. So I'll switch back and forth. And then these guys are great for, I do a little bit of running. So yeah, I don't have the right ear type for them to stay in. So I have to buy these things actually to put, there's a newer generation that's supposedly, they have like a little rubber tip so they stay in better. But I wear it with this so that when I go running, they don't fall out. And they're great for running. I had ones that had the little cable in the back that were still Bluetooth. And yeah, it's like Apple knows what they're doing. They're really comfortable. You forget you have them on, kind of thing. I don't know. So they were a gift. I don't think I would spend that kind of money myself, but yeah, can say I'm unhappy. Yeah, exactly. When the wrestlers have, even boxers, right? Now with the MMA, they have the ears all smushed. So yeah. Yeah, cauliflower ears is what they're called. I didn't know that was a thing, and I came to college out here in the US. The first time I saw it was with a wrestling friend. Um, I was 18 at the time, 19. So I was like, what the heck? And I just thought it was, not what the heck in that sense, but it just something I never necessarily seen before. And then I saw it on, one of his teammates. He was in the college wrestling team. So it's like, oh, okay. And then I went to one of their matches and they were wearing the ear protectors. So it's like, oh, I see. It comes from the banging. But yeah, didn't know it was a thing. Yeah, no, it's pretty common. And then I did a little bit of amateur boxing. I grew up, I'm from South America, so I grew up playing soccer. Then came out here to play a little bit of soccer. And then once my knees gave out a few years ago, it's I can still play, but it's frustrating. For the most part, I started doing a little bit of boxing, and yeah, I've seen there as well. And it's not necessarily from the repetitive punching, but it's from wearing the headgear, I guess. I don't know what the right word is, but the headgear, a head protection for sparring, since it has the over the ear protection just from the constant banging. It's pretty common. Yeah, exactly. Particularly, my impression of wrestlers after being in sports in college out here in the U.S. Yeah, completely changed, right? Growing up in South America, it's the kind of like ignorant view, like, man, is that even a sport? Like those two guys running around in the ground, or those two people running around in the ground. What is that up about? This was pre-UFC and all that maybe popularized jiu-jitsu and some forms of wrestling. And thank you, Headgear. And yeah, so first time I saw it was out here, and yeah, they do wear it like a badge of honor, right? Because some of the wrestlers that were maybe worried about their looks or didn't wear them, they would like, I guess you puncture so that the the little blood clots or whatever forms there are able to drain, and perhaps get them to a little bit less. But I would say the majority of the wrestlers in college didn't do it. And the people that I knew, speaking just from first-hand experience. Did you get yours playing sports then? Are you a wrestler, or did you do wrestling? Wrestling. Tricky word for me. In high school, nice. Yeah. Now for me it was, football with a U, soccer. So element, from 4 years old the way to whatever 24, 25, and then after that point just for fun. And then, with the bad knees, it stops being fun, and it's kind of hard to find people out here. If you go to a park to play pickup, the quality isn't all that great, and you can pay to go to different places, like $5-10. And it's like, nah, man, it's a little bit easier. Back in South America, you can, well, at least in Argentina, you can just go pretty much anywhere, and have a guarantee of everybody being on a similar baseline. And obviously there are some that are better than others, but now you do golfing, nice. I've been wanting to give it a try, but just because I with my friends and my wife, every time there's an opportunity we'll play the little putt, the mini golf, and it's pretty enjoyable. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. So it's like, man, I want to try the real thing just to get an appreciation of it. I've gone out to the driving range and just like smacked the crap out of the balls, but that's nowhere near what you have to do for the sport. So what's your, I guess, handicap, or what's your usual average number of shots? So Little League. Oof, man, that's rough. Yeah. What the heck? That is like the, as they say, one of the biggest comeback stories in probably the history of that league, man. All right. What position did you play for baseball in Little League? I played a little bit of baseball, and made me a catcher, because I think if I was either infield or outfield, I would get just bored sitting there and start like messing around with my teammates. Just this is at a very early age. It's like, okay, you're a catcher, just so you can have more participation and we can keep you under control. Right around par, all right. I see skinny, yeah. You can see, yeah, a little bit on the heavier side. So catcher, nice. Yeah. These days I have to run since I sit pretty much most of the day for work, and I don't know, I live a very laid back lifestyle. My metabolism isn't necessarily super fast, it's not super slow either. But I do have to like push the running to make sure I don't bulk up. You had the league's best catcher, I'd imagine, from the second season. I guess it's not necessarily the catcher's fault, right? If you're losing all the games out of 30. But yeah, catching is fun actually. I remember just trying to make it so that it's a strike, make when it's in the zone, but yeah, just a little tweaks, and then just trying to get someone stealing second base. That was always like, you get all excited. Yeah, you get a good adrenaline rush from just the base stealing. So, fun times. Yeah, man, I can imagine that. And poor coaches, man, in Little League. Ah, they must be, they have patience of saints, as the expression goes. Because I can imagine, I've seen it at least for soccer, and trying to tell a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, for not all of them to run behind the freaking ball. It's like, wait, just hold your position, and explaining those higher level of abstraction concepts. You either have a patience for it or oh yeah, exactly. So that's a little bit similar in soccer, right? Like having that concept of awareness that there's another person there. Now you just focus on the one thing, whether it's the baseball or the football, and you go for it, and then all the other things that trigger you awareness just disappear. Like, I must get this. So yeah, pretty funny. Yeah, the whole object permanence. You're right. That you just completely forget that something else is there. Yeah, it's kind of tricky, right? Because I don't remember my cognitive science classes, but even it's tricky because you gotta have that object permanence where you're aware that things are there, but you also need a second layer of consciousness that's telling you that thing that is there, that it's permanent there, it also has a behavior that's similar to yours, like chasing the ball. Basically. It's not gonna remain at the original position. So fun stuff. It makes for a fun experience as long as you're a neutral observer. Yeah. I'll do workbench, transition, and pop in this guy onto a Raspberry Pi. My camera image is now frozen. Yeah, the overhead camera. Why? Yeah, it's a motor shield with a, can't remember the part number, but it has a it has both a motor driver and a PWM generating chip, so you can do servos. I mean, you can do the PWM out of the Pi as well, just out of the raw pins, but that gets a little bit trickier because you're doing it via software. I don't think, maybe for a later price it's hardware PWM, but before it was um, software PWM. So this one has a dedicated PWM chip, I think PCA 9685 or something like that, and then a motor driver that can do steppers, and it can do two steppers or four DC motors. Nice. Are you gonna try to put a little laser on top with a little servo? I guess the servo will be noisy, but it'd be fun to get a little laser and both terrorize the kitten and also have him enjoy chasing the light. Yeah, I want to do that as well. Of putting the laser part at least on this guy and try to terrorize my dogs. But what kind of stepper motors did you mean? That just gives me a sense of scale. Did you go for NEMA 17s or something smaller? And NEMA 14s, okay, nice. Let's see. Think my other camera keeps dying. What's up with me today? All right. Pretty cool. I do not nearly have the patience to build it myself. I'm impressed with people who are able to be so methodic and systematic. But I think I have it on one of my cards on Amazon or a wish list, a similar one, but I don't think I would ever there. Maybe I'm trying to find a slightly bigger place and move to a house, and if I have like a full garage, or we're gonna try to get an extra bedroom to set up a proper office, then if I have more space I might give it a try, but I don't think I have that dedication that it would take. Oh, nice. Yeah. I wanna send me some pictures on the Discord or something. I'm curious to see. And then are you using it? Have you made already any PCBs with it? I see, you're building, so you probably haven't finished yet. But yeah, as soon as it's done, I want to see it. Ah, I see. I see, so you have all the parts printed already? And the components, nice, everything ready to assemble. So, sounds like it's a perfect time to give it a try. Distract, and man, I'm getting so many things that I wish I had the time to do off the list uh, during just the past month and a half. It's great. Oh, you didn't get to it in the winter. Yeah, like I said, it's a great time to have a few projects that are fun to just get your mind off of things. At least I'm speaking for myself, but hopefully people can relate. Let's see. Haha, nice. So yeah, you have all the projects queued up. Nice. Then but yeah, I'm using a hub for the camera, and every now and again I'll get this problem. So I think I'm gonna cave. I bought a new MacBook with a USB-C, so if you want to attach anything, you have to, buy a stupid adapter. Just kind of annoying, but I don't think I'll have an option if this keeps happening. Actually, I'm gonna try just going straight to the computer. This is the little troublemaker here. It is USB 3. Just gonna grab USB-C cable. But no. Guess I need. Yeah, that's not gonna work. All right. Gonna. Hey Paul, how you doing? Having all sorts of fun here with while I do things on the Raspberry Pi, debugging one of my cameras that's not working. So fun all around. How are you, Paul? Give it one last try, and if not, I'll go grab a USB-C to USB-A adapter from upstairs. Just get rid of one cable, little extension cable, see if that makes a difference. Open up the game capture. Nope, my hub is not happy. So Oh, no worries, Paul. I'm working on the same project I started yesterday. I was very close to finishing, which is just getting this Intel RealSense camera working with a Raspberry Pi. And if you haven't seen that camera before, it's like Intel's version of the Microsoft Kinect, where it has, but this one is actually made for what makers and hackers started using the Kinect for accessing both the color image information from a regular camera and the depth information from a depth camera. And yeah, so it does have a processor in it that you can get the raw data, but you can also get tracking data and depth information. So I want to play around with it, and hopefully, not hopefully, but I'm doing a project using that information. But the first step is just to get it recognized by the Pi. And I have the process down, but it takes a long time compiling these massive libraries. So I at least want to get that started. Chat with some of you while doing that. So that's what's going on. But while some code is compiling and doing other things, I've been trying to get my overhead camera working. So that is what is going on. And yeah, this is where I am at. I'm gonna run for 5 seconds to go grab another adapter to try to get this pesky guy operational again. So I shall return. Then I can do this silly thing. I will seriously be right back. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Yeah, the bubbles, your favorite animation is around, is back, Joe. That took longer than I would have wanted, but had to walk around in the dark finding another adapter. Let's see about the camera. But mission was successful. Yeah. It's like maybe for the next April Fool's Day, Joe, I will make it a glitter animation. Just for you, buddy. Alright, now you can't complain because it's not an adapter. There. Or it's not a hub, it's your own damn adapter. Alright, obviously now it's working because that's how they get you. And now if I go like this, I gotta fix it on Streamlabs. And there we go, done. And I can do this, and yes, finally, everything's working. All right. Yes, it's all about the small victories. But yeah, I'm borrowing my wife's little adapters for the MacBook. So now I'm up to 3 because one goes for, you know, the 2 cam links that I have, and another for connecting the USB hub. So it's pretty crazy. I guess I'm using 2 monitors, so yeah, exactly. More than I know. But yeah, I have way too many adapters going on. Guess need to buy one because I ended up borrowing one from my wife. So so now we get to find out. I think this guy should be 21. Last one was 20. So, but no, it's probably gonna skip a bunch. Okay. 27. Nope. Alright. I don't have Nmap installed, so I'll do it the good old way. I'm not really too careful when it comes to network security, but I'll do it off screen to whatever. Keep my MAC addresses and my public IP out of sight, but since I'm not necessarily super careful when it comes to that, there's plenty of videos out there on the channel where people can find that information, so it is what it is. Ah, surprisingly, it got the same IP address. Usually it changes when I flash a new image, but this time it did. And I obviously need to take it out of the known hosts. There we go. And well, like that meme. Oh, S word. Here we go again. Installing the Intel RealSense libraries from scratch. Take 2. See. Put my main. I guess I can do this guy. I want to have a screen where. Oh, there we go. And yeah, I'm still here. Just have the DSLR, the overhead camera, and the main screen. So I don't think I'll be doing much over here, but at least people can see the RealSense in its full glory. My little contraption of a Raspberry Pi. What do I want to do? I want to close this. Bring up. There we go. Go back to the beginning. This is kind of a little bit depressing, but not too bad. So. Start documenting this. Might as well. Oh, come on. Might as well go on Amazon and buy this silly adapter. Not too bad, only $16. Yet another. Oh man. Another expense for this darn computer. Yeah, what's funny is that I don't know if I resize the file system and the other SD card because I only had 8 GB right when I was looking at the numbers available, which is the default. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the 32 gig image, and that way I can do proper documentation while doing the process. But man, I was so close of getting it running too. So whatever. Save this mess before I lose it. Then this document, I think I created it yesterday. So, and I just pasted a whole bunch of information really quickly, didn't format it. So now that I have a life has given me a second opportunity to undergo this process. I'll do things properly. And then it's just a wiki page entry on one of my repositories. So kind of surprisingly, the Raspbian doesn't come by default with CMake install, or even libtool is kind of surprising. So. And then if you were referring to this one, these are tips that somebody gave, a few months ago for how to deal with getting that library installed on the Pi 4, because the original documentation is for the Pi 3, and this one was made earlier last year, so everything is fairly recent. It's a fairly new camera, so luckily that means that I have recent documentation to an extent, just slightly different platform, but it shouldn't be a problem. And somebody else already posted as part of one of the issues how to solve whatever incompatibility there is, so shouldn't be too bad if I don't run out of memory again. So, or it was more like drive space. Let's ignore the error. Install protocol, but also do this. So. Actually, also gonna install Vim. So this guy's fail. So the other guy starts when I get to proto buff, so everything else needs to happen. Alright. Then don't want to do that. Yeah, maybe this for the sake of formatting. Oh yeah, this is kind of a big download, unfortunately. This will take a while. Gives me a good excuse to at least pause the stream for a little bit. I'll probably be back after. And yeah, might actually jump onto Twitch. I spent a little bit of time creating a channel and all that. Unfortunately, my typical username was taken, so I had to spell it with a K. It's not great for branding, but I'm new to Twitch. I spent a little bit of time, you know, putting all the information that needs to be put up there. So I'm gonna give that a try and just get used to a little bit more to that platform. I'm exploring the whole live streaming space. So since I just gotta wait essentially until that library is downloaded from the repository, just gonna mess around with Twitch and make a little bit more progress and go back. So I think I'm trying to use it for the programming side. I was surprised. Somebody mentioned, hey, for the live streaming, would you consider Twitch? When I started last week, and I said, well, I've heard of Twitch, but it's mostly for gaming. But apparently, there's quite a few people using it for the live streaming, just because it's a platform that was developed, you know, exclusively, almost exclusively for live streaming. It has many more tools, but I do play, and just to try it out, I'm playing Rocket League, and it might be a recurring theme that I do things related to soccer. So for the longest time, I've wanted to play Rocket League, and yeah, this gave me a perfect excuse. But I'm terrible. I used to, you know, really enjoy video games, but haven't been really playing more than a few games of FIFA with friends, and they always like school me, because they have all sorts of time to play video games. And yeah, I thought I didn't have time, but if I combine it with a live streaming, I think that might work. So how about you, Joe? Do you play any video games? But yeah, so on the Twitch, it'll maybe every now and again, if I'm waiting for something to download or compile, I'll pop up a game. But for the most part, it'll be, you know, same things I'm doing here on a different platform. And if I can ever figure out the multicasting, I cannot do it with the software I'm using, a Streamlab OBS, but few people do it, you know, get the live stream going on YouTube and on Twitch, the same one at the same time. So I'm sure I'll figure that out eventually. So first person shooters, yeah, I did that a little bit with doing the LAN parties with friends, and for those I was never necessarily good, but I enjoyed them. But yeah, no, Rocket League is a little bit challenging to be honest. I'm getting better, but yeah, it's quite tricky. And I grew up playing the FIFA games for soccer and stuff, and just the mechanics are so different. I see good contact in the air. Yeah, that's still beyond my current ability. Oh, really? Okay. Didn't know they were suffering from poor sort of bandwidth throughput issues. So that's interesting. Uh, I was kind of surprised, you know, the number of streamers you can see on the screen, people I'm following. And this guy, George Hotz, right? I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call him an idol, but someone that has my admiration. And you know, it was a recommended channel today. Again, I've been using the platform for a whole 1 week, and I was surprised to find him on there doing his whole AI programming. And I was like, man, that's kind of cool. So, oh, you watch him? Okay, yeah, yeah. I was surprised, and yeah, he's doing driverless, or you know, I didn't watch his stream because I was trying to start mine, and I would imagine he's, you know, doing his open AI stuff. So crazy long streams, nice, but yeah. So and as you can see, you know, I'm only following a few people. I'm even following the person with my name. I suspect it might have been, you know, I had interns for a little while back when I was trying to run this as a proper business, or meaning, having multiple people, an office and all that, as opposed to a one-man kind of show. I think one of the interns probably tried to help me out setting up Twitch, and they secured the name because they haven't posted anything. But anyway, at least people won't be going to the wrong stream and watching somebody else. It's like, hey, why is Cisco myself, playing or doing something weird, as opposed to talking about electronics or whatever. So at least there is that. Oh yeah, the name does suggest that it may be for drones and stuff. But if that interests you, there's this lot simpler project called Donkey Car for the Raspberry Pi. You probably heard about it, or if you hadn't, I've mentioned it on stream a couple of times. I did a video on it. This is a 1/10 scale car, and they get together in the Bay Area for doing a little competition. Obviously pre-shutdown and stay at home. So I've always wanted to just build my own because the instructions are fairly simple. You get an RC car, you put a Raspberry Pi and one of those PWM boards. It's just that board here has the same chip that it's on the motor driver we were talking about before, on the motor hat. And all right, Paul, take it easy. Thank you for stopping by. But anyway, they have a software package for doing autopilot stuff on the Raspberry Pi. It's not terribly expensive. The RC car itself, it is kind of pricey for my taste, like 125 bucks. So I ported the software over to work on this type of kit with a differential steering, and I can get the software running. I'm still to collect data, right? Because you need to drive it on manual on a track and collect image data and the steering data. And you collect a bunch of data. You download it to your computer. You run TensorFlow and deep learning stuff, and then you create a model and you put the model back onto the car, and then you let it run by itself and tweak that model somehow, the hyperparameters or whatever. So yeah, kind of want to try that. And yeah, it's no open pilot, but seems fun. Oh man, nice. Yeah, the little autonomous lawnmower. It's kind of funny. We didn't get very far, but in college there was a competition for building. This was decade and a half ago. It's probably still going, but there was an autonomous lawnmower competition, sponsored by DARPA, the Advanced Research Projects stuff from the Department of Defense. So we did an entry, and the school gave us the budget to travel and participate, but we never ended up going, because I think every year used to be in somewhere like Dayton, Ohio, and getting the platform we use is one of the ones that you actually ride, and yeah, that was a mess. But yeah, this was pre-Arduino, pre-Raspberry Pi, so we just had a laptop running some sort of software. It might have been MATLAB or something like that. It's terrible. Connected to one of those National Instruments big boxes that could talk to motors, and it was a bit of a mess. So, and then getting GPS coordinates with just a big old GPS unit. It's so crazy how in this amount of time things have gotten very practical, and you can carry stuff like that in your hand. So, fun stuff. But yeah, so you can look at the students' projects and see if you can use some of that information, because they do have to write a technical report as part of the entry to the competition. So there's they'll list the hardware. I don't think they release the software, but nowadays that's easy to find on GitHub. At least find something as a starting point. Oh man, actually this, alright, I'll keep going for a little bit. This last time took forever to download. Might have been when I was having problems with the stream. Alright, Twitch will have to wait. Then this guy, if I recall correctly, I'll test it out. You cannot run it without becoming root. So, yep. So the guide lied. And I guess, you know, obviously you don't need to sudo if you're already root. And then CMake, it's already a version that is newer than the one they recommend, so that's good. And then you need to do that for Bash. All right, finally get to protobuf. All right, and we need to change the version. All right. the formatting. Why? All right, that's good. Nope, that's not good. What's wrong with you? The joys of Markdown. Oh, I remember this. This is a freaking bug with order and unorder list. So I gotta include something here, like 2 spaces or something like that. Nah. Like obviously if I get rid of this, then it works. But there's something about this stupid list. Oh yeah, I guess the trick was to include some HTML that's not viewable, which is I guess pretty silly, but whatever. It is what it is. I put it here. Nope. I don't want to leave 2 lines of space. And this does not work. So what are my options? Is this 2 lines? Seems like 2 lines, right? Choose one. Let's give another one a try. Paste the rest of this. Yeah, that's 2 lines. So I thought, trying to remember, I thought I was able to do it with a line break, but what the heck? No, what the heck? If I do, does it matter which type I use? Yep, it don't matter. I don't know. not syntax or something. Forgot I can do 3 quotes for this guy. So maybe if I do this. Alright, problem solved. Here I was talking smack, but I remember reading another solution where, yeah, you're gonna have to do the whole thing with adding an HTML tag as a way to separate the list from the code, but this is a lot nicer. After all that hard work, she just paste this on bin and replace it, but I will do it the brute force way. Alright, so a little too much for me to handle. So what? Dude, yeah, because this guy's not copying. It's in visual mode. Shit. of them, but I want to turn off. Like this. Something about setting mouse setting it to off. Ugh. And my kingdom for better memory. So is it set mouse equals R? There we go. Now, if I could remember this, wouldn't that be something? All right. Save. Downloaded the correct version of Protoblock? No. Or yes, we did. 3.10. Alright, so let the compilation begin. Compiling. So, AutoGen configure, yes. Yeah. Okay. Too many files that matched. And I think, yeah, this one will take a while if I recall correctly. So probably a good time to do the switch. So if somebody wants to follow along, I'll be over on Twitch, and I'll probably just let this run for a while. So there might not be a whole lot of action there. So thank you for stopping by the stream today. Hopefully it's a little enjoyable for those of you who haven't seen the same process twice, and even if you did, hopefully that's not terribly boring. So making, you know, bits of progress towards getting the little Intel RealSense working with the Raspberry Pi 4. So probably try to do one more tomorrow, and now that we have the correct capacity for the SD card and remember to expand the file system, things should be working, and we should have some fun with some depth tracking with the RealSense. All right, signing off.